Hey guys, so in this one we're gonna attempt to create something here. I'm just thinking river style aquascape. I don't think I want to go with a lot of plants, if any plants at all, but I do have plans to put a terrestrial plant as part of the scape. So yeah, so this is essentially what we are working with. We have this shallow aquarium. I can't really remember the dimensions of it. I will put it somewhere if I remember. That is. And then we've got some mainly river rocks, gravel, things like that. So the idea really is just to build height on the one side, sloping down to the other side. Depending on the view angle, I think I'm just gonna go in this case from left to right, and let's see if we can come up with something nice for this. Yeah, cool, let's get into the build. So I'm just gonna go ahead and do this however way. I don't really want to get technical with this build, but I will kind of talk through the process as I do it. So like I said, the idea is just to get slope going all the way down. This will be in this rack just behind me, so the viewing angle is better if we go from a triangular kind of composition from well, if I'm facing this way, from right to left or from left to right, if you're on the other side. So like I said, I don't necessarily need nutrient rich substrate for this one, so I'm just gonna go with this aquarium gravel. Really, it's nice and porous, so the movement of water, circulation of oxygen and all of that will be it will work out well with this one. So I'm just gonna go ahead. And like I said, with this one, I don't really want to complicate it or anything like that. It's just going to be something simple, really. Just pushing these guys to get the slope this side. And then because we are really going river style, I've got these guys as well just to play around with. I've got a couple of them just to play around with and see if I can get the layout that I like, enjoy. So yeah, no pressure given that I'm doing this on camera. And usually a lot of the times there would be this process takes a while, depending on what you like and all of that, and there are many ways to go about it. So I just usually just go with the gut feel, really. So with this one, I think the one thing that I really want for it is sort of some height, even further than where it is now. And so I'm just gonna add those as supporting stones and then just get somewhat of height here, and just trickling down. I'm just going to go with like random bits here and there just to connect the scape. This should give like your rivery kind of style. I deliberately kind of left this bit here on purpose because I think I probably want to put the terrestrial plant this side. And now also that I'm thinking about it, the filtration as well, but I think that should be good. And so I'm just gonna go ahead. Ideally I want to get big ones in first and then just go down with the small ones and just play around with different shapes. So I also have different sizes here as well, just to help with all of that detailing. And it always helps when you have different sizes, so that you can build somewhat of perspective, as in you can see that the integration as well of your rocks, right? You don't usually go from big to this fine ones. They're usually different sizes and all of that you get, that you can always play around with. So yeah, that's essentially what I'm doing here. I'm just playing around with now just different sizes, putting them. Really, it's just gonna be a random thing. There's no specific pattern that I'm chasing or anything like that, but I do want to add in things like some nice details here and there, and the small bits as well, just so there's somewhat of an integration between all the rocks that you see in the scape. Like I said, we are going river style here, so it's all things that you would find in the river to kind of mimic that. I'm still contemplating whether or not I want more gravel that side, or if I want to go more like sand, really, to go from finer sand here, and then it goes on to join this slope. So far it looks like there's nothing really to it. Nothing. I'm not trying to come up with some complicated thing. I'm just going with what works, and it's quite important to go with what works for me mainly. Otherwise, I'm not going to finish building this, right? Yeah. Oh yeah, the other thing that I'm still thinking about is whether or not to put white or black background on this tank. I'll just see. I'm thinking maybe white. Maybe white might not be a bad idea. So the other thing just to take into consideration, all tanks will need somewhat of maintenance. So you ideally don't want your hardscape by the class. You need to give yourself some room for you to be able to get in there nicely and do your maintenance properly. So that's all nice, but I just want to add some elements here as well, for mainly just detail and all of that. So it's just different elements, and sometimes, you know, throughout this process, I think this one is relatively simpler one for me. Just gonna go this side just to see how it looks. Yeah, so I think I'm happy with this layout. The details are there and all of that, so it's just that this bit here, which I'm not sure what to do. I want to integrate a finer sand there, or maybe I do have a finer gravel that will work well, but also at the exact same time, I think I can still add sand as well, just to finish up that look there. Yeah, this is more finer than the other one, which will add nice bit of integration as well across the scape, really. Yeah, something like that. I'm just gonna play around and just add sand, finer sand here, just to see if it works well, whether I like it or not, and all of that. And there will always be things like that, right? You play around, you sort of try to figure out what works well for you, what doesn't work well for you. It's important that you don't rush it as well, and you usually want to keep Escape for as long as possible, so you ideally want to settle on something that you will enjoy looking at. So I do have this much more finer sand that I'm just gonna add there, just to see if it works well or not. If it doesn't, I can always get it out, but I think I'm liking that. I'm not against the idea of having sand there. I think that sand just complements this well. One of the most very important tools, and especially when you're dealing with small scapes, right? So you just want to be able to get in there nicely, play around, feel around. So I can even I think I'm not against it. I think it's working out quite well. And obviously, well, I say obviously, for me, obviously, I will need some sort of detail, so I'm gonna go ahead with the finer ones, as the finer grain sand as well, just to add it in there, just to piece in that look together, right? So the sand will most probably travel down anyway, so there's still that. But I think what really made this scape for me is just having these different varieties of your river stone. It works quite well for this specific scape. And I think as far as the scape goes, that is it. I am there's nothing more. It's gonna be a fast flowing one, so I need to get my filtration to push water across nicely, just to give a river style. And yeah, it's down to cycling. So like I said, I do want to add in a terrestrial plant here, just to give you an idea. I am going to go with a peace lily, and the idea is to get it here at this corner here, to grow from there. The roots will be submerged into water, and that's I mean, this is one of the other things that you play around with and you see whether it works or not. I have played around with peace lily in a fish tank before, and it happens to be one of the easiest one that I've played around with. I do have some other plants that I try out in other scapes as well, But I think a peace lily here will complement the look. And after that, it's just getting a different lighting, I guess. So we ideally want a light to grow this peace lily. I don't necessarily want too much light in the scape itself because there are no plants, so I'm not really growing anything. And also I just want to avoid algae. Too much light, it can cause algae problems, and the next thing your scape is not looking so like but that's an easy fix. So yeah, I guess now because this is a terrestrial plant, it does come in soil, it's potted in soil. And you don't want that in your water column. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to open this up, wash up the roots, and then have a way to plug it in here. I do have some pots to help with that, but I think I will most probably just add it in here and add more gravel to support it so that it sits nicely on top of that, just round about here. And then fill up with water, put it in place, and that would be that for the scape. So walk with me as I clean this up. Yeah, so I'm just gonna go ahead and get this off soil and then just wash up the roots. There'll probably be a couple of clumps of peace lily here. I don't know if I'm gonna use all of them in that one tank, but I can always put them in other tanks as well. So let's do this. As you can see, the root system still have quite a bit of soil in it. You definitely don't want that in your tank. So we'll just wash this up. You want to ideally get out as much soil as you possibly can. For the new tank, I'm not too worried about anything being in the roots, any soil being in the roots, because I'm not planning on adding livestock soon, and I'm going to do a couple of water changes before I do that anyway. So but still, you really want to make sure you get all that soil out as much as you possibly can. So I try to get as much out as possible, and already I can see that I can just separate this into different chunks. This will be the first one, second one there's a third small one here also. I can always replant this potted as well, but I got a couple of tanks as well, so I don't really mind growing this, and also it will just be readily available, the peace lily that has adapted in water for me to move to different projects as I go along, because I quite enjoy having a plant like this just popping out of the tank and looking like it's part of the scape. So yeah. Just giving it another rinse there, and then and then we are happy. Let's just take this back in. So as you can see, we have like 4 pieces that we can always add to the tank or to the tanks. So yeah, just do that. So back to regular programming, if you will. So this is the idea here. So we'll just have a peace lily coming out here, and like I said, I do not mind the roots also just being part of the scape, right? Like if we position it nicely, the roots can just grow in nicely to be part of the scape. It will be a nicely integrated scape. But yeah, if you are looking at it now, I still have capacity to add maybe one more. I mean, I can even go more than that, but once this peace lily has adapted to water, it will grow quite quickly. So yeah, the one thing now that I'm just gonna do is I'm just gonna take some of the pieces and just put them here to support this peace lily. Gonna try and get as small as possible just to get them in there. The idea here really is just to support the peace lily, nothing more, nothing more to it, and make sure that it stays in place, more like it has been planted. It has been planted here. Just want to make sure that it doesn't move. So the lighting as well, just have to move it to the side. And then we already have sort of those roots trickling down there nicely. Yeah, and this is kind of the final look of this. I need to sort out the lighting, and then, but I think before I sort out the lighting, I'm just gonna fill this tank up. I still really need to decide on the background. I think I'll probably go black. Oh, frosted white. I'm not really sure at this point, but yeah, we'll see. So this is final look of the scape. So the process here is not really gonna be anything hectic. It's just filling in water. You ideally wanna go as slow as possible when you are filling up your water. There's not really much in this scape that can be disturbed though. So yeah, even though I'm still conservative about how I'm filling up this water, I'm really not going to disturb much here, really. The other important aspect of it is the water that you use. Obviously for fish and all of that, they require certain water parameters. And usually the water that we get from the tap has got chlorine, which is not good for this environment. So if you are using tap water, then you might want to get something like a dechlorinator to help you get that out there. Yeah, I am expecting this one to be a bit more cloudy because all the sand, everything that I used in there, I didn't rinse it. but that's nothing the filter cannot take care of. Speaking of filter, I have no idea which one I'm gonna go with in this one. But let's just see. Let's just see how it goes. I'm pretty much sure I've got something spare somewhere. And I still have to figure out what I'm going to do for lighting in this one. The important bit of it is that the peace lily will definitely need some lighting for it to grow. So it can essentially be a spotlight or anything really that comes from the house. So it is going to adapt. The peace lily is becoming a bit sad now, but it's just going to, because it's used to growing outside of water. So there's gonna be some level of adjustment for the peace lily. And yeah, so if you have a look at it now, this is where we are. I'm quite happy with the layout. It's something simple, nothing more to it, but it still just has to go through the cycling phase and all of that. I'm not really sure which direction I'm gonna go in terms of inhabitants of this. This will most probably be another shrimp tank. So I ended up borrowing a light from my other tank just to put it here for the time being while I still figure out what I'm going to do with the lighting for this. I need something, given that this tank is sitting relatively high, I need something that will be comfortable to the eyes as well. Any plant growth light would work really. But yeah, I'll just find a nice solution for this, and hopefully something that is strong enough to give some more light into the tank itself. If you have a look at it, still trying to figure out what to do as far as the background is concerned. And now black, white, I guess we'll just see as we go along. But yeah, this adds one more to the rack, and I think it turned out not bad really. It's really not bad. Oh yeah, the other thing that I just need to do is to put the filter in as well. I'm going to get just one of the small filters just to help with clearing up the water and getting that movement. I still have to buy a dedicated filter for this one, so we'll just see how that one goes. And just like that, that is it for the escape. I obviously still have to take care of the lighting, but as far as the layout and all of that, I'm quite happy with it, and I'm gonna stick with that. So yeah, I know we still have to go through the technicalities of what is what, how can we use what safely in the tank and all of that, but those videos will be coming along. I was bored, needed escape, made one. Anyway, cheers, hope you enjoyed. See you on the next one.